So the religious extremism has been a prominent factor in the Middle East for the last few decades at least. But in the last few years we have seen the defeat of ISIS, and maybe many of the extremist groups have lost their steam. But in the last few years we have seen unfortunate events starting with the sectarian violence that happened in Syria, and we have seen the 12-day war happening between Israel and Iran. Do you think that the extremist groups can grow into power once again in such an environment?
So I think that the easiest route for these extremist groups, extremists who use religion as a cover, the easiest route for them is when we create a political vacuum into which they will move. And so we have to work for international stability to prevent that happening, but we also have to be very clear in calling them out that they are not religious extremists, they are extremists who use religion, and that they are not men and women of God, they are men and women of oppression and repression who will use religion as an excuse for their preconceived ideas of control. And we need, especially with young people, to call them out for what they really are.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially in the United Kingdom, but also in the majority of Europe, we have seen right-wing movements gaining traction year by year. Especially in the last few weeks, we have seen a massive protest took place in the UK, United Kingdom protests. And when you look at the United States, we see a new form of identity has come to reality they call the Christian nationalist. Do you think that one day, in a close day or a far day, you see this becoming some sort of religious extremism in the Western world with the Christian values?
I don't think it is motivated, again, by religion. What you're seeing in the United Kingdom is a reaction of the people against years and years of accumulated, uncontrolled immigration. And that is causing the problem. So, no, I don't see that there's a rise of religious fundamentalism in any way in Britain. It remains a deeply tolerant country. But the public are fed up with the ideas of the metropolitan liberal elite telling them what they shouldn't be willing to accept. And the simple numbers in Britain have become too great. And what you're seeing is a sign of widespread discontent, not just in Britain, but you are seeing it across Europe with the rise of some of these parties. They represent the deep unhappiness of many parts of the population to what they regard as a political class who is not listening to them.
Mm-hmm. When you look at the latest attack that Israel did to Qatar, there was a lot of outrage in not just Qatar, but in many of the Gulf states also. Do you think that this attack and maybe follow-ups potentially that might happen as soon is going to push Gulf states away from working together with the Western countries?
No. I think that the strategic patience that has been shown by the leadership here in the UAE, but also in Bahrain and Morocco, shows that they're committed to the long-term prospect of peace. Everybody knows that there will be bumps in the road along the way, but ultimately the prize is too great to throw away for any short-term considerations. Having said that, it's quite clear that the United States government were extremely unhappy about the Israeli attack on Qatar. And I think that the visit of Secretary of State Rubio to Israel this week will be probably having some fairly robust conversations when the doors are closed.
Mm-hmm. Last question. When you look into the Western involvement with the Middle Eastern countries in the last few decades, we have seen toppling of leaders and support for certain opposition groups in many of these countries. Do you think that the Western involvement has caused some sort of power vacuum that caused the extremism to grow in Middle East in general?
No, you saw the extremism growing, and it has been going for some time. When you look at the strength of the Muslim Brotherhood, they were there. In fact, it was the Muslim Brotherhood's ideas that were reflected in ISIS and Al-Qaeda, for example. So we need to understand a lot better the need to tackle these ideas at source and not wait until they become a security crisis before we take action.
Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it.
Nice to see you.